basically born from a subconscious. You know what I mean? It's two worlds. It's the cosmos and it is the earth. The cosmos, the heavens and the earth. But it gets deeper. This picture is taken actually inside the womb of the African woman, right? Now, the metaphor for this picture is always, for the African womb, the metaphor is always that the dark womb of the African woman is a metaphor for the night sky that birthed the newborn sun every morning in the east as Heru. So everybody in here is Heru, who was born every morning in the east as the newborn sun, right? Okay? So you have a cosmic womb that is metaphorically aligned to the feminine womb, right? You have an astronomical sun that is metaphorically aligned to the newborn son or daughter, right? You know what I mean? Now, when a person dies, their soul goes back through the same portal that birthed their physical life, right? So when your physical life was born through the feminine womb, the dark feminine womb, your soul will go back through the dark cosmic womb or the heavens, right? You follow me? Okay. So the snake was considered the carrier of spirit. It was the transporter of the soul. It was like the ladder between both worlds. Sometimes in Kemet, what you'll see on the wall is a picture of a flying snake taking the soul to the cosmos. And you'd be like, what is that about? But it's metaphoric because our ancestors were so very deep. You know what I mean? So they knowing that the flying snake is actually the umbilical cord that carries the soul back through the womb. But not the feminine womb when you die, the cosmic womb, the heavens, right? So you have the scorpion, which is the creative purpose of nature is a nutcracker. You have the cow, the creative purpose of nature is Heteru or Hesat. You have the baboon, which the creative purpose is, or nature is Babi. And you have the ram, which is very important, but I won't get into that tonight, but it's definitely in the book. The ram, the creative purpose of nature is Aman. So here's the big question now. How do I become one with the Creator? That's what everybody wants to know. You know, through prayer, through meditation, through, what do I do to become one with the Creator? Well, let me tell you, if you concentrate deeply on something, an object, metaphysically, very deeply, you can potentially change the molecular structure in the space between you and the object in which you are acquiescence or communicating with metaphysically, right? And it opens up the portal so energy can be transferred back and forth, right? Now, another word for deep concentration is meditation, So if you look at the animal nature, let's just pick the crocodile, Sobek, right? Now, if you pick the crocodile Sobek, so what I want to do is I want to be one with the Creator. So what I want to do is I want to absorb the nature from Sobek into my consciousness in order to raise my consciousness to the highest level of subconscious oneness. Okay, that's my goal. That's what I want to feel, the euphoria of being connected to the Creator as one. That's my goal. And for the meditation part, there is a ritual and there's the concentration. So, because you got to activate, you got to wake up the nature. Just like if you sleep and somebody come in your room and start beating the drum and you wake up. Well, what our African ancestors would do would play drums, chants, libations to wake up and communicate with the nature, right? And then the acquiescence, the communication begins, right? So the ritual would be the chanting. The ritual would be the drumming. The ritual would be the libations. Added with the concentration. And now you're starting to generate two-way energy through meditation. You know what I mean? And always light some candles. Candles are necessary. Good numbers are 7, 9, and 12. Okay? They represent completion. So, now here's the thing with the nature. What you have to realize is that when you're talking about animal spirits, the nature is the behavioral attribute of the animal. So if you don't know what that animal does and why it does it, don't go to the store and buy no animal and put it on your shrine in your room. Don't do it. Because you're wasting your time. You have to learn about animals deeply. What they do, how they think, and why they do it. Right? Then you will understand exactly how that nature, what that nature represents, and how it can possibly impact you and elevate your spirit from a conscious state to a subconscious state of spiritual oneness. You know what I mean? So we take the soul back, for example. We take the soul back. Now, what behavioral attributes do soul back represent? Now, if all of us in here went down, let's say we lived a couple thousand years ago, we lived on the Happy River, and we just want to walk down to the Nile, or to the Happy, right? And we see the crocodile, right? The crocodile waits patiently in the water for like 6 months before the impala or the wildebeest come down to cross or drink, and then the crocodile strikes, drags it out to the center of the water and drowns it. So what do we take from that? We take the power of water, right? We take patience. So when the rains come a little late, we're not going to do what they do in Arabia and Europe and start biting each other up and killing each other because we're desperate because nobody got food. We're going to use the sobek in our consciousness and wait it out, and the rains will come. You know, when crocodiles mate, the crocodile male does a little spin in the water, right? Yeah. And it releases, like, it gives the impression that it's a flood, right? Now remember, in Kemet, one of the primary metaphors for a flood was that it was the water breaking in the amniotic sac of the African womb in preparation for new life, for the birth of new life. So, does this dance, attracts the female crocodile, they mate, she's pregnant, she goes up on the hill, she lays her eggs in a hole, she whisks the dirt on top of the hole with her tail. It kind of looks like she's forming a pyramid, right, with spirit inside. You know what I mean? With living spirit inside the pyramid, right? So when the babies hatch, she gently puts the babies in her mouth, right? And she takes it down to the water and puts the babies in the water. So the same mouth that can kill you is the same mouth that can gently, carry life to the water, which means balance. So the crocodile now means balance too, right? So the same water that drowns you is the same water necessary for life. So now water means balance. You know what I'm saying? So we taking these attributes and we just checking it out. And all these we jotting down and we're going to teach it in a class in Kemet 10,000 years ago. No religion exists, but this is real spirituality. No religion, no Islam, no Judaism, no Christianity, no Buddhism, no Hinduism, no Zoroastrianism, and all the other isms that they want to force down our throat. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now this picture right here. When you first looked at this, you thought they were stars, right? These are actually the night eyes of crocodiles, right? The night eyes of crocodiles. Now, with the night eyes of the crocodiles, there was a double metaphor. There was a metaphor before human life and a metaphor after human death. Now, the metaphor before human life was that the crocodile eyes at night represent the male sperm seeds that are swimming in the dark watery womb of the African woman, right? Now, after a person dies, then we have another metaphor, and the night eyes of the crocodile represent the pole stars, the manifestation of the human souls, okay? So when you see this brother on the temple walls right here, right? When you see this brother on the temple walls and you say, okay, well, this was 16,000 years ago. There is no religion. What is this brother doing? Because the cracker going to write in his little Western Egyptology books, he was praying. No, don't say that, because ain't no such thing as prayer in 16,000 years ago, right? Especially no Judeo-Christian prayer, right? So what is he doing? Well, he is meditating. He is attempting to absorb the nectar from the crocodile, to bring it into its consciousness. So its consciousness could, and through ritual, through ritual, raise his consciousness to a subconscious state of spiritual oneness. And at the oneness level, his system, his mentality, his spirit is in alignment with the Creator, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, his hands are raised. Everybody look at your hands. Look at the palms of your hands, right? See the palms of your hands? Okay. See, in Kemet, the palms of the hands, see, on the human body, there are only two surfaces that are considered transparent. The palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. And both were considered sacred in Kemet. So these were windows, and these were solar panels. Like if you buy a house and you see a guy with a house and he's putting solar panels up. Why is he putting solar panels on his house? Because he's trying to harness the energy. When it hits the panels, the energy magnifies, it intensifies, then the energy is disseminated throughout the entire house. So when you see our ancestors holding their hands up, but always the left foot first, the side of the heart, what they're doing is they're trying to bring in the nature, magnify the purpose of the nature, and have it filtered through their mind and body so they can get a sense of spiritual oneness as their consciousness begins to elevate through ritual and meditation. Everybody understand? Okay. Now, this is the vulture. In Kemet, the black vulture was called Mut. Vulture, man. This vulture was very, very, very important in Kemet, okay? Very important, right? Now, I know what the crackers told y'all. I know they told y'all this vulture is a dirty animal that eats roadkill on the side of the highway. I know what they told y'all. But that couldn't be further from the truth. You know, according to our ancestors, the vulture represented purification. Because if the vulture didn't eat the carrion of dead animals, toxins would emit from the body, causing environmental disease, which would ultimately cause biological disease and viruses. So the vulture, we have to thank the vulture. You know what I'm saying? We have to thank the vulture for cleaning up the environment for us so we don't get sick. Now, the vultures don't eat everything that you see. You know, everybody thinks vultures just eat everything. No, they don't. That's why you see a lot of rotting bodies. Where's the vultures? Vultures eat the carrion of dead animals at a particular point of decay before it's become even more too toxic for them. So you better be happy when you see the vultures come right when an animal is killed. You know what I mean? Because that animal prevents environmental toxins that could ultimately lead to sickness and death in humanity, right? So the vulture was very important. Also, the vulture, I seen this was pointed out to me. I never knew this, but when I did a tour in Kemet in 2006, the tour guide pointed something out to me, and I followed up. You know, I did my own research after that, but he kind of like lit the fuse a little bit. And what I really figured out was that the battle chiefs in Kemet, they realized that the vultures, how mystical this bird is. The vulture would know 7 days in advance where a war was going to take place. And they would go to that place 7 days in advance. So the battle chiefs would send out a team to follow the vultures, especially when they knew an impending advancement from the north was coming. They might have been at war with the Hittites, or the Assyrians, or the Greeks, or the Babylonians, or the Arabs, or the Romans. You know what I mean? And so they sent a team to always study the vultures. And when the war started, when the battle started, you know, the vultures would go. When the battle started, the vultures would know where on the battlefield the most dead is going to be, because they want to go and consume that body. So the vultures were very mystical. But what you don't know is that the vulture is a race of only women. The black vulture in Kemet was a race of only women, no men. And the vulture conceived by the wind. And if their offspring lacks sustenance or food for any reason, the mother vulture will prick her own thigh and allow her offspring to feed on the nutrient-rich blood. And to our ancestors, this represented the maximum sacrifice mothers make to make sure that their children are healthy and safe. In fact, the word mother in Kemet was Mut. The black vulture in Kemet was called Mut. The newborn son that we talked about is Her, or Heru. When you combine the two, you get mother. This is where the word mother comes from. It comes from Heru and Mut, the mother and the son. Okay? And So in Kemet, you only see the vulture headdress. You only see the vulture headdress on the female, because only the female can potentially be the mother. Okay. Now, this is the donkey, which is very, 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 and this is going to segue us into a whole different lecture, right? As we're going to use the donkey to lead us into religion. Okay. So the donkey was named U, right? The donkey was very, very important in Kemet. When you walk up on a donkey or an ass, right, and it turns to look at you, the first thing it does is raise its ears, as to say, what are you talking about? I want to learn from you. I want to hear what you have to say, because if you don't listen to a person, you can never learn from a person. Like if everybody came in here tonight with headphones on, would you hear what? Would you learn what I'm teaching tonight? Absolutely not. So what if you took the headphones off and you had big giant ears? You really could learn the lesson. You know what I mean? So the donkey was called the hearer and the carrier of information, right? The carrier of information. And all throughout African tradition in Kemet, you see the donkeys always on the temple walls. I see more donkeys on temple walls than any other animal. You know what I mean? Now, this is a drawing that came off a temple in the south. It's pre-dynastic, going back probably about 11, 12,000 years. Temple was pretty much destroyed. So the artist could barely draw what he saw on the temple wall. And so this drawing right here became known as the coming of Usu. Remember, the donkey's name is U, and the son, the S-O-N, like you have the daughter, a name for the daughter, a name for the son. The son was named Su, so it was the coming of Usu. And you see the palm leaf, the man in the back with the palm leaf. You see the coat right here, right? You see the coat, you see the palm leaf, right? Now, in our spirituality, there is no child, no boy king that's going to save anybody. It doesn't exist. And sometimes we have a problem with associating religious rhetoric into Kemetic spirituality. No, don't do that. What is being said in this metaphor right here is the son that's on the back of the donkey